Hi, friends. Been a little bit, hasn't it? My name is Eric, and thanks for joining another Shining Developer Series live stream. And oh, I have a lot to talk about. It's been a heck of a probably what 10 days or so it is now, grand total. But thank you very much for joining, and I'll tell you kind of the high-level goals tonight. Kind of going to take my own advice for once. Ironically, I was helping some people out with some advice on kind of getting started with streaming and things like that. And there was always one bit of advice I always said to people is that be yourself. Don't feel like you have to be perfect in what you're going to build or what you're going to push out there. Especially after what's happened to me recently, I'm about to push what certainly won't be a perfect version of this calendar app, but I think it's important enough to just get it out the door for people to react to and start getting some feedback on how it's working. But this will definitely be not a version 1 of it. It'll be like a 0.1, whatever I end up calling it. So we're going to take a look at that a bit and get it ready to go, and at least feel like I accomplished something the last few days. So let me bring in the chat here. I see some familiar faces already. Hello, the Cedar Prince. Great to be here. Great to have you here, and thanks for coming back. And Monica, thank you for joining as well. Thank you for the well wishes, both of you, and many others. So if you're one of the viewers that hasn't said hi yet, just get you all up to speed. As cautious as me and my family have been, we got hit by that virus. First my youngest son, and then it just spread to everybody eventually. And ooh, it is what they say it is. It's rough stuff, especially those first days. Tan, welcome. Glad you could be here. We actually were talking a bit yesterday as well. I'll highlight that a little bit as well. So yeah, long story short, COVID ain't fun. I don't wish it on anybody. So stay safe out there as best you can. But sometimes there's nothing you can really do, especially when a kid's classmate gets it and then just goes everywhere. But okay. Enough about that nonsense. Let's talk about some fun stuff, shall we? First, after about 3.5 months, I want to say, I got a very nice surprise in the mail before all this bad stuff hit. I have myself a new keyboard, and I love it. I'm going to show you on the screen here. This is called the Launch keyboard by System76. Who coincidentally is the same company makes my streaming rig that I'm on right now, and it is nice. It was not cheap, but as far as the form factor, let me hold it up again. It's a little hefty, but I am one of those people that does not like the number pad on the right, so that my wrist for my mouse doesn't have to reach so far to the right side when I need to use it. So this form factor is literally the perfect size for me. I absolutely love it. And the other part I really like is that it works equally well on Mac and Linux. It was created by a Linux company, so of course you'd expect it to run well on Linux. Yeah, good question, Cedar Prince. I don't know if it's 65% or slightly more, but it's definitely one of the smaller factors. But the keys sound really solid. Now, I'm not sure if my mic's going to pick it up. I'll hold it a little closer and we'll see if it'll... Not sure if you all hear that or not, but it feels very familiar, like the old IBM Model M keyboards, without being so hefty. So I've noticed a big improvement. Yeah, okay, so you did hear the clicky. Yeah, so obviously that is one consideration if you're trying to get this in a quiet environment. This may not be for you, but for this kind of stuff, I'm fine with it. yeah, the switches, I want to say they're royal blue, but that's a good time to show you all more details on where you can find out about this. So I'll put the link in the chat here if you want to check that out on your side of things. But this is the spec page. I'm going to try and get to the more detailed specs on the switches. Okay, so here they are. I believe I got the Royal switches where they claim it's a muted clack, although I don't really think it's muted, but it's definitely good enough. So I'm not I know about the cherry switches and all that. I don't know as much about these, but again, what's nice is that you definitely feel the press, but you don't feel like you're exerting too much energy to press down, and you get that nice feedback of like, okay, I really typed that key, not like a mystery kind of press like the typical keyboard. So it's really, really smooth. And of course, one of my favorite parts are the LEDs. This is really fun. So how they pull this off, I'm going to show you that real quick. This here, System76 releases a configurator program. The best part is that it is, again, cross-platform, and when you configure settings on it on one OS, so to speak, if you plug it in, if you plug it into your other OS, maybe you have a Mac or a Windows machine, if you get this configurator installed on that too, the configuration settings go directly on the keyboard itself. It's got like a chip inside. So it's not like the OS is telling it what it's doing. This program is simply a link to the actual configurator in the keyboard itself. So to show you what I mean, we have an LED part here, and they have a whole bunch of different patterns here, and I guess some speeds and stuff. And once you set that, then you've got yourself a new pattern there. And so yeah, as you might imagine, that lighting stuff's been a big hit with the little ones, and they really want to get their hands on it now. But no, this is Daddy's toy. I got other keyboards for them. They got to earn this one. I've been looking forward to this for a while, ever since they launched it, or yeah, it is called a launch, but ever since System76 had mentioned they were going to do this, even with the rather hefty price tag, I just couldn't pass it up. So I've been using that for about a week and a half, or it's been since before the bad stuff. So I think it's been about 10 days or so. So it's really cool. Really like it. So that is that, and I'll get the browser back on here, wherever I am. So yeah, I definitely think if you're in the market for a keyboard, especially if you're doing like the cross-OS, cross-platform life like I am, and wanting something that could work well on all of them, it's definitely worth it to me. So yeah, that's my mini keyboard review. I love it. If I had to give it a score out of 10, I'd probably give it, it's almost a 10. I'm only going to give it a 9 because the keys were a little louder than I anticipated. But honestly, if that's my biggest complaint, I'm living the good life there. So yeah, that is my System76 launch roundup there. So let us get to some coding, shall we? All right, let's see if my buttons still work. Okay, we're in good shape here. A little resizing here. Oh yeah, Cedar Prince is asking if I'll replace the keycaps of some others. Yeah, it actually did come with some other colors for like the escape key and some of the other modifiers. I'm just a little too paranoid of trying to take those off right now, but they do have a nice little set of kind of like keyboard pliers that you can yank the keys off and put them on. So I'm sure if I'm daring enough and I know I won't get raided by the little ones, I'll try that out. Because my guess is they'll probably take those keys and try to hide it, and then I'll be sunk there. So in due time. But they do say that you can order any custom key that has that type of form factor, and you should be good to go with it. So yeah, I'd imagine I would down the road. So, okay, so I've done a few things off stream since the last time we were here. Mostly data stuff because there were some wrinkles of at least one data science streamer that's one of the more prevalent and popular ones. But at my first pass at all of this, their data was not getting into my calendar app. And I wondered why. Well, I know why now. It's because they do not actually schedule their streams on Twitch. So a lot of you are on Twitch, you know that you have the whole schedule thing, and that's when you say what days of the week and what times of the week you're going to stream. Hence what we're trying to import into this shiny calendar thing. Well, Nick Wan, who is very, of course, famous for Sliced and being an all-around awesome data science streamer, he doesn't do the schedule thing. He just has a generic text in his profile that says, oh, I stream like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Well, of course, that wreaks havoc on me because I was trying to just take the API endpoint for streaming schedule that Tan was so kind enough to point me to a few weeks ago, and I was getting nothing from Nick. So what I had to do, and it took a while to do this off stream, is kind of reverse engineer what their schedule is based on the previous videos that have been recorded, or the VODs, if you will, from their previous streams. And that was a lot of magic with date times and clock and all that gnarly stuff. But I think I finally got it, so there will be a lot of hydration tonight because I am clearly not my usual self yet. My nose is still nasally, so apologize for the more baritone voice than usual. But let's see what we've got so far. I'm going to run the app again and we'll get this going. VS Code is front and center once again, and I think I've tamed it a little bit to not be so noisy at me with the auto linting and the pasting and indentation. I think I've got it, but we will see what happens. Let's run this, make sure I didn't break anything, and then I will make this a little bigger. Okay, so here we are. So the only things that have really changed is I already got a request from Afton, who I'm not sure if she'll be joining later or not. She had dibs on teal for her color on the calendar entry, and sure enough, we got teal for her entry right here. And it also repeats up here because that bleeds from Friday night to Saturday night. And I'm going to tweak the content of these, the actual entries in a little bit. But you do see here is Nick's sliced placeholder here, which again was not scheduled technically, even though of course we knew it was happening. But I reverse engineered all that through the video API and, like I said, some magical things with clock and date times and rounding. I was up really late doing that last night because the last thing I want to do is bog you all down with that minutia. I wanted to make this as close as we can get to the deployment, and I knew that was like a never-ending maze sometimes to get that going. And then the other things I've added since last time is now I have 2 time zones here. Even though they're labeled kind of odd, the first column here, it may be hard to see, is the Eastern Daylight Time that I'm in currently. And then the left one is UTC, like the straight up UTC that many of my good friends outside the US use overseas. So you can kind of see how that maps up to each time zone on the left. We may try putting more in here. I don't know. I'm not too concerned about that at the moment. But we also have a way to switch between the week and the day, so you can easily flip forward. And you can see on Thursday, we got a lot of stuff happening on Thursday. Actually, it's kind of surprising. But look at this. We got like 4 streams happening at once in this blog of the early evening. So this is what I built this thing, because if you just go hunt on each person's Twitch profile and have to visit one by one, it's hard to keep track of all of it. But now we got stuff here. So yeah, definitely the raid effect would definitely help there. And we got the month view as well, which isn't as nice because now you could have a whole bunch of entries here in the space of a little squish, but I let the user choose that. You can see this toggle is quite responsive. I wasn't sure how well it would work, but because it's being done on the client side, it's working pretty well. Now, the things I want to do tonight to polish this up, let's give it a better title at least on the app, so to speak. And then I want to figure out the relationship between what I put here and what I expose on demand when somebody clicks on it. I'm not quite sure yet. Maybe I keep it like this for now, but I just want to get some information there. And then my VS Code view doesn't show it, but I do have the videos. An example video that pops up when you click one of their names or one of their entries. I don't know if I want to keep that below it or if I want to like put it above with like some metadata on the right, and see what happens. So technically, Cedar Prince, my trick should work for yours too if you don't have a formal schedule on there. It just doesn't go as far into the future as like the other ones do that have the schedule. Like I can zip through pretty far here and I still see a lot of things here. So that's the only downside of not having a schedule. Now that I've actually figured out what I have to do, it's not too big of a deal. It should just work for people, but you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Okay, so little bits at a time. What should we do first? I think let's do the easy things out of the way. Let's change our title. And this is where this is going to be like real-time feedback. If y'all have tips on what you think I should say here or what things I should label, this is definitely a great time to do it. So let's stop this thing and let's get coding again. We are in our R directory and everything is in the modcal viewer. That's basically the one module that we have in the app, but because I'm future-proofing this, there will definitely be more modules later on. Now, I believe that shinycal text is actually not in this module. Where that is right here. So some of you may remember this app is organized as a Golem package because, wait for it, once you go Golem, you never go back. Although, yesterday we heard from a very talented vendor who does not use Golem for their Shiny apps. And that was one of the questions I got. So for those that aren't aware, our studio yesterday had a joint webinar with Epsilon, who is one of the, I'd say, more prolific vendors in the data science and R space. And they do consultation to various companies to help produce like data science pipelines and Shiny apps. And it was a very cool webinar. It was actually the first time they did kind of like a hybrid of like scheduled talks, and they did more than one presentation. So there was like 3 or 4, I believe. And then the really fun part, not that it wasn't fun before that, but immediately after the scheduled talks, we had a hangout over Zoom. And our studio's been doing this for a little bit. They'll have, well, on Thursdays, they'll have what's called a data science leader hangout, which I try to partake in when I get a chance and I don't get hammered with meetings on the work schedule. But they had a similar hangout dedicated to us Shiny enthusiasts and Shiny curious right after those scheduled talks. And I don't think anybody from Epsilon joined that, but we had a lot of cool feedback from people asking about some Shiny questions. I chimed in with my knowledge, and Tan here also chimed in on some great feedback too. I was able to ask some questions about, ironically, a component of this calendar app that I may get to later. But it was great to hear from some of the Shiny team as well as some others in the field. That was a boatload of fun. So I hope they do it again. I think it was a great format. And, well, story of my life, Tan, a lot of times I am multitasking. Luckily, the data science one is during my lunch hour typically, which is like noon Eastern, so I'm able to kind of rub down and listen and chime in on that when I can. But yeah, lots of cool stuff happens when I'm knee deep in other stuff, so glad you could make it though. You had some good advice there. But yeah, they had a lot of good, Absalon themselves had some great advice that will be incorporated into this app eventually. But that'll be more of like fine-tuning it for production after this initial rollout. So I got a lot of things I'm going to parse for that. I took a lot of notes. Even live tweeted some of this stuff because I felt like I was at a conference again. Even though, of course, it wasn't a conference, but I had that similar excitement, especially with Shiny stuff that it always has. So yeah, I'm going to be sharing some of those learnings as we go along, but I want to go back to the chat for a second. So, Basetta Buddha, thanks for joining. He's saying, he or she is saying, I still struggle with where to store data in my Golem app. We mostly use data warehouses. Should I use data raw, FCT, or NCXT data? Good question. I'm going to assume this data is not huge data, because if it is huge data sets, I'd say definitely get that in some kind of database somewhere. What I do for this current app, which it won't be for the long term, but for the short term, is the data, raw data files, which are basically a series of YAML files, are in the data raw directory. And I have a simple script called streamer data that for now takes those YAML files of each streamer's metadata and uses some of my built-in functions to munge that into a tidy data frame with some nested data frames inside. Then I just use that as like an internal data set. Because the data is so small, I can do that. That's your easiest bet, especially if the data is not really changing. Or if it is changing, you can easily update it in the app repo. But what will happen in future streams, I'm going to move this out to a dedicated GitHub repo where I can use GitHub Actions to refresh it every day. And then the app is simply going to render it from online instead of having it built into the app itself. And I might use the pins package for that, or I might build my own custom API thing with Plumber. I haven't made that call yet, but I got some good advice yesterday at that Shiny Hangout of things to consider for whatever direction I take. So yeah, I think it's kind of your judgment at that point, but I think for small stuff, I'd throw it into data raw or have a in-app data set. All right. So yeah, keep the questions coming. That's definitely why I like to do these things. So we need a better title for this thing, shall we? Shiny cow ain't gonna cut it. Now, how much should I future-proof this? I'm just start typing stuff and we'll see what it looks like. Data science. Streamers. Calendar. I don't know. I'm very unoriginal with naming things or describing things. But I do all caps for this. Well, why not? All right. I know R is not the only data science thing used here, of course. I'm just having fun with it because it's a Shiny app after all. Okay, so let's just see how that looks in the render. Not that it's fancy. Get that going here. Well, I mean, it certainly looks better than what it was before. There's no styling yet, but I like that better. I do feel like I need some narrative below it and have some links to, there's one blog post in particular by Jesse Mostapek, who of course is on this calendar as well, of like rounding up all the data science streamers that she knows about. So I'd like to hyperlink that here just to have it in. So let's do it. Let's do that, shall we? That'll be pretty easy. Close that up. Okay, so you're using external databases. Local DB pulled in with plumber. Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. So I'd say that logic should live in the package if you can for actually pulling it in, but if you're dealing with external stuff, it's just easier for you to maintain if you leave that data outside, so that if there's some weird mishap with data, you're not having to change your app repo at the same time. You can keep that pretty self-contained. And I did have a work project last year or a year and a half ago where it wasn't so much the data was huge, but I was using Shiny as like a glorified web form. And then what it would do is it'll take those input values, massage them up into nice JSON, send them via an API, and that API would be in front of a Postgres database. At that time on Heroku. Now we're actually converting that to AWS because our company apparently don't want to pay Heroku much anymore. We're all in on the AWS stuff now, so they're converting that as I speak. But the API in front of it does not care in terms of from the Shiny app side. Shiny's going to the API. The Shiny app doesn't actually connect to the Postgres database directly, so it's got that boundary in between. So yeah, I'm pretty familiar with that workflow, and there's no traces of that data in the app repo or the manifest at all. So that definitely helps me out a bit. All right. So that description, we're gonna start typing some stuff out now. I'm gonna teach you all a trick that I've done in my previous apps. Although I'm gonna kind of have to do it by memory because I tend to copy paste this from one work app to another, and we'll see if I can do it by memory here. But what I want to do is I want to get a markdown file, and instead of typing all this out in the app UI file itself, I just want to reference the markdown file and just render that as HTML, and then that's going to look very slick inside the Shiny app. So VS Code's kind of cool. It lets you select a language for your new files. So I'm just going to do markdown for this. Let's save it first before I forget. Now, where should I put this? This is always a good question for some people. In Golem apps, I tend to put these in inst app www, and since there won't be many of these, I'm just going to throw it in here. Called intro.mv. All right. I'm going to start typing stuff. I'm usually pretty good at writing, but it takes me a while to write. In the last few years, I'm going to say something like, let's see, no. Well, explosion's a harsh word. A huge uptick in the number of sites, professionals and hobbyists who like to stream their projects and share their knowledge. Calendar, small attempt. You can see great screens are happening. So not a lot of text, but definitely this is not something I would like to just write up in the app UI lickety split. So okay, so now comes where we want to include this. Now go by memory on this. So I want to put it below the title for now. And I think okay, so Shiny markdown it? Let me see if there's a help here. Yes, insert inline markdown. MVS, a character vector. Uh-oh, wait a minute. It's not a file, is it? Now, there was somebody else online from the Shiny team that made their own version of this. But I don't want it to be inline. I gotta figure this out here. I could have sworn they had like an include function. So Tan, all I'm trying to do is just include that markdown file. That's it. I maybe VS Code wasn't smart enough for that. Hold on, I thought that... Yes, it is. Okay. Yep, that's it. Exactly. Alright, so... Now, this is where file paths can get tricky for me. I need to see... I think Golem by default makes the www folder available, so this will probably fail the first time, but I'm just going to replicate what it would be like for somebody new to do this. Exactly, yeah. It's like, y'all just get Tan to join your streams. Like, he solves all the problems. When you get the cure for COVID, let me know. Yeah. Let's give this a shot. Let's see if this works. Nope. Okay. So that, I knew that would probably fail. So now we're gonna try www in there and see if that does it. Nope, that didn't do it either. Okay. I feel like I shouldn't have to hard code it like this, but let's find out. Yeah, okay. There's got to be a better way for that. That seems very odd, but anyway, I'll keep it like that for now. Oh, we got good questions from Jay Ripslow. It says, may I use BS4- with R Markdown? I somehow doubt it, only because I know BS4- and David Granjon's other UI-related packages seem to be very specific to Shiny. But what I have heard, and this actually came up in the Hangout yesterday, is you might be able to utilize some other packages that are not as specific to Shiny for styling. But I have not tried that before. I've only done BS4- and Shiny stuff. But you can tell by the package, like repo, it's got a whole bunch of Shiny stuff under the hood already in there. So my guess is it's probably not going to work if I had to guess without too much research into it. But BS yes, exactly. I knew it was BS something. I should know that because I interviewed Carson last time. So yeah, I would try BS lib instead. And because I do have verification from Carson himself, Carson Sievert, who was instrumental in making BS lib and Thematic, that those have just as good support in R Markdown as they do in Shiny. So give that a shot. I may even put BS lib in this app down the road once I get through the initial deployment. So good question though. Okay, so we got the Markdown render, but as Tan said, maybe the better way to do this, because I feel icky just hard coding this, is I feel like Golem also might have some helpers for this. I need to look at what they give me. It's like Golem utils. Where's the app config? Appsys. This might be it. This might be the one I want. Access files in the current app. So I feel like this is basically a shorthand for it. So let's give this a shot. What's the worst that can happen? Of course, what I always like to do is I keep the one working, comment it out, and try it up here. Okay, so it's Appsys. Now, will we have to do it like this? I have a feeling I messed this one up too, but we will find out. Okay, no typos. Shot. Nope, good. Got it. Alright. That makes me feel better. Not quite as janky as what we had up here, so we're going to cut that nonsense out. Okay. So we have our title, better description. We should probably look at this a little more. So the view type, I do think that stays up here. I'm going to start throwing some stuff out there, more, you know, talking to myself a bit, but definitely chime in as well. I wonder if it's worth giving the user flexibility and maybe isolating the entries to be just about one streamer versus showing them all at once. I have all the data, of course. All this would do is, I'm pretty sure in the client side, there's no way to do it. But it would just change the reactive going into the calendar, and then it would simply make all these other entries null and void. Shall we do it? Maybe we should. I want to give it something else besides just the calendar itself, because I gotta make it seem like it's benefiting from Shiny in some way, shape, or form. So, alright, so let's give that a shot. Gotta do some actual Shiny stuff before I deploy. What did I just do? Window too small. Oh, okay. VS Code didn't like that. Alright, so where we would build that, that is going to belong in that module that we had open before. It's going to belong here. And now we're going to start adding stuff. We've kind of had placeholders for things. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add another widget in here. And we're going to reduce this to, this doesn't even need to be 6, I think it's 4. By the way, the col_4 is a shorthand for like the column width equals something that you do in regular Shiny, so that's another golem nicety. So for now, I'll give this the full rest of the width, and if you're wondering why I did 4 and 8, the grid-based layout that Shiny is based on, i.e. the bootstrap layout, fundamentally is based on columns up to 12 columns in your grid layout. So I always just make sure they add no more than 12 there. Now, the easy way to do it is, we have a couple approaches here. So obviously I want a select input of all the names of the streamers available in this data set. And of course, I do not want to hard code those streamer names in this widget here. I want it to be dynamic. Now there are two routes to go here. There is the, because this actually came from the webinar presentations yesterday. What most people do is they'll do a UI output in this, and they'll render the entire input server side. Well, there was good advice yesterday that said, you know, as much of, if you can do as much as you can on the client side with JavaScript and save your server side processing for when it's really needed, your app will get better performance. Now, let's not kid ourselves. This calendar app is not exactly banging the cores on a server somewhere. But I want to teach you all best principles as I do this too, especially teaching myself to make sure I listen to myself. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to see if I can do this by memory. We're going to do a select input, and we're going to basically give it nothing. And when, you know, you may be wondering, how in the heck am I not going to give it anything? Well, let's first, I always like to have the help side by side. Now, you can see here, we need input ID, label, and choices specified. The rest can be null, which is fine. But we need to add something here. So we'll do a label. Oh, by the way, here comes the GitHub Copilot. It thinks I want to label a streamer. I'm going to take that. Yeah, let's do it. Yep. Now let's see what it tries to do here. Oh, I choked it. It's not going to do. Not going to. Oh, it's going to try. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's hilarious. It's trying to do streamer 1, streamer 2. That's funny. Now, what we're going to do here is we are going to put choices here, but what we're going to do is we're going to do nothing. Just a blank, empty thing. Now, of course, that's useless, right? But we're going to update it immediately. Now, the question is where to do the update. For that, I want to view the help. Update, select. So this is the way that was recommended by both the Absalom folks and, frankly, the authors of Golem as well. They have a whole chapter about this, or at least a section of it. Use the update functions as much as you can. And what you do is that it's basically at the server side somewhere. You just paste this in, and then it will you can simply supply new values of these, and then you're good to go. Now, we want the default to be everybody. So in actuality, maybe for our purposes, we still do all as like our default choice, but then we're going to update it or append to it the other stuff. So let's see. Now we can put this in any kind of observe or reactive block that's going to be executed by the server. So the best place to put this is probably where I start importing in the app the streamer data, and when I start not the vid thing, but then the cal sub, we're gonna put it here. Kind of an abuse of places, so. Yeah, okay, Cedar Prince has a great question. Is Shiny syntax a different type of R-specific syntax? I can see where you're coming from. Shiny itself has a lot of functions that are wrapping HTML type stuff under the hood, and some of it will be very specific to Shiny, like the whole reactive thing and render inputs, render outputs, I should say. But yeah, it's there's also a package called HTML tools that have basically R functions that are the equivalent of like a lot of the common HTML tags like div, h1, p, and all that. So it's a hybrid of a bunch of these, but I would say Shiny itself has enough unique syntax on its own that certainly there are bits of it that feel like it's its own language inside of R. I can definitely sympathize with that. Even the way that you do these reactives and how your first argument is actually encapsulated in the curly brackets, that's like saying that the first argument to a reactive is an R expression. That took me a long time to get my head around. I always just kind of typed it out of memory because everybody else did it. Now I know what these brackets are for. It's to put in a bunch of R code that can't be just like a one-liner. So the tidyverse definitely has its own, almost its own mini DSL, but in certain parts of Shiny, you can definitely use some of those same principles. And the best thing to do is to know for meta programming how to handle certain things in Shiny that are different than if you're handling it into a basic R session. But Hadley Wickham, of course, the architect of the tidyverse and chief scientist at our studio, he wrote the Mastering Shiny book, which is its own fun story, and was that episode 19 of the podcast, or the Shiny Dev series. But he has a whole section on meta programming tidyverse inside Shiny. And that clicked a lot of things for me, where before I was never able to really combine them effectively. But now I can. But he had to write the chapter for me to understand how to do it. I tried to teach it myself, but I got nowhere for it. So yeah, let's see if I can... See, this React is going to be executed based on the calendar render. Now, the key part is, will this fire so many times? But I'm going to give it a shot anyway. Update, select input. Now we're about to find out if do I have to namespace these? Oh boy, I don't know yet. Let's see. I'm gonna get that widget or that ID. I've been burned by this in the past, and I feel embarrassed every time I get it wrong. Because I've done this a few times, but I always have other apps that I just copy from. Let's see if I get it right this time. Alright, so this is going to be choices, and we're gonna keep all here, but now we are going to get the unique, or maybe just, oh, what did I call that data? User ID, I think that's what I called it. And then I'm going to say selected is still all. This may not be the best place to put it. I don't know yet. We shall find out. Give it a play. Oh. Well. Oh, it did work. I messed up the layout, but it did work. All of them are here. Nice. Okay. Now, why did I screw up the layout here? That is probably an easy thing. Wow. I wasn't sharp enough there, but what happened is that I had forgotten that I put everything in this column. That's not what we want. What we want is to separate into a new row. This is the design stuff I was telling you, I was alluding to in the tweet earlier. That's kind of why we do these things. So yeah, Yuka, yeah, welcome to the chat. Glad you could be here. And yeah, if you're trying to learn Shiny, well, it's a great time to learn. Not to sound like that older gentleman or person on a lawn, but back in my day, it was not easy to learn this stuff. Now we have like 3, about to be 4 books about Shiny in the community. It's great stuff all around. We're gonna move the these two into the other container here. Okay, copy paste extension. Failed that one. There's a copy paste extension I literally installed like last week that was supposed to tidy all that up. I got it working yet. Yeah. All right, let's see if that fixed my UI stuff. Okay, we've got the calendar back in the nice layout, and we got all of this here. So of course, when I click on it, nothing happens because I didn't actually execute anything server side yet. So here's where things might get a little tricky. Actually, maybe not. We have to decide where we're gonna put the result of this, or the choice of this. So that might be time to do a little re-architecting here. Is probably, you can kind of see what I did here in this render calendar is I have the requirement of that reactive here called cal sub. I'm so creative with names. And then it does its own kind of selecting of columns right here. But I wonder if I should break this up into another reactive for the purposes of getting it out of here and having that be another rec. So in other words, we're going to have two layers of reactives for that calendar. We have the first reactive is really unnesting all the scheduled data and doing some manipulation here, getting the categories out. But then what we're going to do now is we're going to make another reactive here. Oh, I should rename this stuff. Yeah. Now processed. And then we're going to call this cal. Oh, I'm terrible with names. All right. Cal display df. It makes sense to me, but who knows what makes sense later. Process. All right. So now this is where we're gonna move out this stuff. And hopefully things don't break. Hey, that time the copy paste worked. Boy, it's like a shot in the dark. Okay. Now, this is where we're gonna check first the presence of that input. What did I call it? Oh, I'm gonna show you all a cool trick. Well, actually, a lot of editors do this now. But when I want to view the same file multiple times, VS Code has split right. And now I can scroll this up and figure out what I called it on the UI side. I did this today because I'm re-architecting my biggest production app with a new feature. And it's been a doozy. But I had to keep looking back to like what I call the input in the UI side. What do I call it back on the server side? And going back and forth, but now I can have like two views of the same file open. That's just been a nice quality of life improvement for me. Been really cool. So now we want streamer select. That's what I called it. Go, Copilot did not get that right. And then now this is cal process, not cal sub. But I don't want to do anything to this unless the user did not select all. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to say if this not equal all. That's when we're going to start filtering here. I don't like VS Code doesn't indent the pipe. Well, look what we have here. Copilot does another win here. Whoop, oh, I broke it. All right. Crap, get back. I hit the wrong key. There it is. That is nice. Afton, welcome. How are you? Hope you're doing well. I had a little explanation earlier. I'm still not 100% yet, but I'm happy to try and get this deployed tonight. At least we get some out there for people to look at. But that was good. That was a Copilot win there. It knew what I wanted to do. That was pretty cool. Great to have friends here. I tell you what, when you're knocked out like I was and my kids were, it just like sometimes I feel like time stops. So it's nice to feel like the light's at the end of the tunnel. But yeah, this stuff is just crazy. Okay, so yes, I expect puns. I need puns to keep me happy tonight. I love the puns. So now that should get us what we need. Let's see. Now we just have to redo this. This is now going to be cal display df instead. Whoops, I messed up my parentheses. There we go. And then this becomes that same thing. All right. Let's see if that does it. That was a lot of mini engineering there. Hopefully it pays off. Here we go. Oh, of course, whenever you rename stuff, you always forget something, right? What did I forget? Okay, well, let's search for where cal sub is being. Oh, not in here, not in here, in here. Oh, it's over here. Okay. That's why. Any others? Yep. I should have just done the whole find and replace, but I was being lazy. Alright. Yep, another one. There we go. Alright, I think I've eliminated it. Find out, folks. Uh-oh. The worst errors of all, when you see nothing. No error at all. Just a whole lot of nothing. Okay. So... Oh, wait a minute. Did I change that? Cal display DF. Oh, gotta go to where the action is. And we found our problem. Notice I had that rec there, but before the browser. Since we didn't get to the browser, it means that object's not being populated. Okay. That means cal display df has a problem. I bet it might be this. There you got too cute with the input requirements. No, that's still not it. Okay. Alright, alright. I knew that was kind of a dangerous operation, but part of me thought I had to do it. Alright, we're here at least. Okay, we're here. We can... Does cal process actually show us anything? Oh, it sure does. Yeah, that's definitely there. Then let's view that. Oh yeah, data's good. Nothing bad with the data here. Oh gosh, oh gosh. Let me guess, I'm gonna make sure Tan didn't catch that, because if he didn't catch it, then he and I both missed it. Yes, I am not myself yet. Oh, that's rich. Okay, yep. Yep, okay, well, all good, buddy. We can't, I don't pay you anyway, so, you know, you missed my miss of a return statement, buddy. Yeah. One of the more elementary things I've done recently, but wow. Oh, that's crazy. Okay, well, that probably means I don't need any more browsers around here. Yeah, I think I took them all out. I'll clean formatting a little bit. That should get us back in business. clean up here. We don't need that. Oh yeah, what I want to do, I will move run dev over there. Now when I run the app here, it'll open in this tab. Yes, we're back. Okay. that's awesome. Okay, let's see if this works. We're selecting Afton, and Afton's entry only happens here. Yay. So, there you are. And yes, Afton, you got yourself some teal here. You were the first one to request it, so you got it. And yes, thank you for the return pun. I wouldn't expect anything less. Now, this is where I bet I know what's going to happen if I go back to all here. Oh, it worked. Oh, I know why. Okay. You have two, yeah, you do have two streams. Oh yeah, we want to find it. I'll show you, yeah. So this Sunday's the 8th, so we have to go over here. There's your package dev and testing stream. Oh wait a minute. Oh no, I didn't scroll down enough. Oh, phew, okay. There's your game night stream. So yes, you are fully represented there. And since you use the schedule proper, it's easy to grab them. But I was telling everybody earlier that getting Nick Wan's streams was not so easy because he doesn't do the schedule thing. So I had to reverse engineer all that, which I stayed up way later than I anticipated last night to figure that out. But okay, I'm happy with that. The toggle works. Now, let me run it one more time just to look at the overall viewing of it. Maximize this a bit. I need to make this a little more descriptive. Yeah, we all like teal, don't we? I know quite a few people that do. Feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. Maybe I don't need to add anything on it too, but I even got Tony on here too, Cannon and all the R friends here. Tony is on Sunday. Data signs. I feel bad. I haven't actually watched the VODs yet, because this is unfortunately when I'm doing family stuff on Sunday, but I will try to catch it when I can. Now, here's the thing. Does it look pretty yet? No. But you know what? It's time to deploy. Let's get it deployed. Alright, so before we do that, let's do some housekeeping. We're shipping it. It's kind of like the anti what I did for the shiny contest. Actually, yeah, you all were part of that too, Afton and others. I was doing all sorts of dev stuff to get that polished up. Although one of the apps I did for the shiny contest I had done well beforehand because Monica here, we used that random car racer for our racing game, so I had that all set to go before. But then that dashboard one, ooh yeah, I spent a lot of time polishing that, blinging it up and all that before I, even though I was a judge, I knew I was a judge all along, but I wanted to act like I was in the game, so to speak. So that very night before the contest had their window of entry locked, I shipped the hotshot dashboard. So that was awesome. Okay, so let's housekeep this. Look at our Git. I did make a lot of commits last night and earlier today to clean up stuff, so we are going to do that now. First changes were here, intro, yep. Add the title and description. It's good enough for me. And then we'll get to what these are in a little bit, but then the major change here is in the mod viewer. So we can say toggle or streamer subsetting. Okay. That is that. Hopefully I got my bits wired up here. Okay. It pushed up. Good. We're good there. Okay. I should probably update the README with some more information. This, so when you do Golem, and I even use this, you get a default README that of course is very basic. I want to copy over what I had in the app UI. Yes, Monica, I fully agree. Guess who's still been training, by the way? You know, okay, for others aren't aware, Monica and I are talking about the Hot Shot Virtual Racing League that we were a part of earlier this year, which is still one of the highlights of my year, being part of that. And I'm not saying that because I won. No, I'm saying that because it was with great friends. Trust me, it's all about the friendship, the trash talk, and the utter chaos whenever we would wipe people off the track. It was just hilarious. So yes, we do need to get that together again. But yes, I lost all my data about a couple months ago when Steam has some horrific bug on Linux, or if you remember your password, it just wipes everything out. By the way, I don't know if it'll be this week or next week, but Yannick and I have a cool little R-related stream idea that we're gonna maybe do either this week or next week. So stay tuned for that. It'll be fun. He's a very willing spirit to get into all this data science stuff. All right. You know what? Just because I'm lazy, I'm gonna copy a lot of that text I had in that markdown file and just put it in here. I know I should be better at like polishing like a repos README, but you know, later. Where did I put it? I'll have this as like the beginning of it, and then I'm going to oh, I want the word wrap. Oh, it does not default. Okay. Give props to the Golem, of course. It's in my contract. Kind of. But I also have to give props to the widget I'm using. This app would not possible without the. I'm gonna get the. I will put hyperlinks for this. Host UI is the package we're using for the calendar render, and honestly, this literally would not be possible without that. So I'm gonna copy that. I have it on Firefox handy. I'm just gonna move that here. I like their name, Dreamers. Yet another great data science and shiny consulting company in Europe. Let me get the Golem link. They now have a Golemverse site. I don't know if you all have heard about that. Because having the Tidyverse is not enough. We got the Golemverse. I'll put that in here, and here's it is in the chat if you all want to be converted like I am. Whoops. Forgot a closing parenthesis there. Okay, I think I can keep that. Yep. All right, good enough for the README. Let's knit that. Actually, I think VS Code should have a palette, command palette thing for this. R markdown. Shouldn't it? Oh, yeah, they have a widget here, don't they? Where is it? Open preview to the side. There it is, knitmd. Yeah, me and knitting. Okay. Let's make sure that rendered. Yep. Okay, that rendered. Get our commit there. Oh, it did the HTML. I don't want that. Get out of there. We'll delete that. We're just not committed. Okay. We'll get rid of that later. Let's push up the new README. Ooh, recipes, huh? Make lavender matcha tea. Oh my gosh, yeah. All tea connoisseurs here. Time for deployment. So Golem has... Oh, not that. Here we go. Didn't want to do the get view of it. Golem comes with a few helper scripts that walk you through the app creation process from like brainstorming all the way to production deployment. That's what we're going to do here. I timed it just right. Yeah, I'm psychic with that. We'll see if that bites me though. So I took notes from when I did this with hotshot apps, because in VS Code, with me doing this fancy schmancy Docker container stuff, there are some gotchas that our studio's packages expect to be there, or some areas that it expects to be there, and it's not. So I made notes like a good little boy here, where if I said, if I'm deploying in a container, I need to create an RS Connect directory first, with sudo privileges no less. So let's do it. Get this out of here. Sudo. Good. Now I have to change ownership, so I have ownership of it. I don't know why I have to, but it was some weird stuff. And I didn't do that. Okay, good. Here we go. Now if you haven't seen what I'm about to do here, so our studio itself does have a button for you to push, and you can link it to your shinyapps.io account. It'll ask you a couple questions, and then you just click a button and it handles it. This is basically doing the same thing, but just through the package called RS Connect. And this is why I'm such a big fan of that company, is because that could have been a thing they just kept locked in our studio itself. But they thought, you know what? Let's make a package out of all this. And that way, if you're not using this IDE that we made, you can still do this stuff. So I've always appreciated that. So before this stream, I copied this, what's called an app manifest file, which all that is a way for you to tell what files and directories are going into the bundle that's being sent to shinyapps.io. And that's all these right here. So it's just the data directories, the inst, the R subdirectory, and some of the package stuff. So that way it doesn't try to send the RM stuff or anything. It just sends all that. Okay, here we go. Why do I feel like this is almost too good to be true? We'll find out. First, I need to get back to my R. Oh, I did it again. Don't do that, VS Code. All right, there we go. Here we go. Well, Eric, that'd be smart if you actually installed the package. RS Connect. Throw that in RM. Lickety split, super fast. Now let's do it. Oh, yes. Yes, I was afraid of this. For the other apps, I did do this. I think I know what I have to do. But let's read the page. Okay, okay. This is where being an OBS studio is extremely helpful, because what I'm about to do is actually do this on my browser window and edit it in a file that you will not see, and then we will have it. So entertain yourselves for a little bit while I do this. I'll keep an eye on the chat for any questions. But yes, RM, Afton, use RM. Please do, especially for your work stuff, because for me anyway, I am much too old now. I'm like, what am I? 800 years old? I'm far too old to deal with people that do not use the same version of R, much less the same version of packages, and they throw it on their work laptop. They're not using the RStudio server that I helped bring to the darn company, and it's just like, you know, just listen to Eric for once. All right. Okay. Okay, I know what I have to do. This was, oh, you're doing Python for your work stuff. I was hoping you'd be able to use R a little bit when you switch to jobs, but I know how that goes. Okay, I know where I have to put it. And again, you are not going to see this in your setup. But let me... copy that here. This is, if you all dealt with APIs, that's basically what I'm dealing with here is API keys. So, not trying to be mysterious, it's just tedious to get it going first, but that will take care of that. Although I put it in the wrong place. I'm not, actually, Tan, if you remember when you were doing my, fun JSON file for OBS Studio, and I was a complete dunce and left those browser source links in there. I have cleaned that up, so now those browser links are no more. But I remember I was like, oh, Eric, why are you doing that? Okay. There. I think that will do it. Well, yeah, obviously, whenever you export that JSON from OBS, they do not expect you to actually do data analysis on it, right? Yeah, exactly. API keys. You are definitely not seeing that on stream. Okay, just had to make sure. All right. Now, what we do here, as I forgot this last time, I'm going to type it out from the other window, but it's going to have a very important modification. My name, token, and this is where things get environment variables, buddy. Where's that token? All right. That can help out here. Okay. And what's called secret? Or the scripted parameter. All right. Make a note of that for future me. All right. All right, so I've restarted that. We're going to restart our R session. Terminal, I mean. There we go. Now, I actually haven't done the app file yet, have I? Yeah, so we gotta add shiny apps.io file. Oh, we already have it. Okay. All right, we have it now. Okay, there we go. Yes. Here we go. I think we got it now. All right. This is where, if you've done this before, this is where it's doing all the bits of assembling all the dependencies, making container images. Just kind of meta here because I'm in a container already. Fetching the system dependencies, fetching packages, building packages. So this might take a little bit so we can hang out and talk about cool stuff. But the key note, though, for those of you keeping score, is obviously I did not hard code those token and secrets inside the code file. I have them in an environment variable file. They are not going to open it here, but they're in here. So. Yeah, the suspense, all the suspense. While I'm waiting on that, we will shift the view to... Whoa, before I shift the view, I gotta close that stuff. Ooh, that could have been dangerous. Let's look at the browser for a bit. This is that Golem verse page I was linking to earlier. Not a whole lot here yet, but they did, yeah, I should be having my episodes on here. Yep, that's Shiny Dev Series when Colin did a very lengthy screencast on Golem. Poor guy had to record it like 3 or 4 times, but that's the nature of media production. And this was my presentation about it at R Pharma 2019. I had a cool little title. It's not just creating it, it's actually resurrecting it. I'm not sure where I found that picture too, but that was a good presentation. This was one of my first presentations with Sheringan. So yeah, I had lots of cool stuff there. I'll put a link here in case you all want to check that out. We are still building the clock package. Apparently clock has some C++ stuff, so we're gonna have to wait on that a little bit. Keeping tabs on that while we go. While I'm waiting for that, I'm gonna look at the Toast UI upstream project. Has some examples on what their calendars look like. Here's where I got the time zone idea from. As you can see, they have on the left here 2 columns. They don't tell you which one's what, but that way you can kind of see, compare them side by side. And I do have the pop-ups. I'm not allowing editing or deleting right now, but I do have visions of being able to use that to put some more things in there. down the road. So we're at good news now. I'll go back to VS Code. We are now pushing an image. We built the packages. And I hope, oh boy, we're starting it. Activating. Here we go, folks. Copy that. I have about a 50% success rate for deployments on the first time, give or take. Yeah. All right. Oh. Okay. So this is fine. What this means is I did not declare this as a requirement or imports in my description file. So we can fix that. So let's check out the description file to be sure. And you can see here there is no mention of caldav. So that's an easy fix. Now, was caldav a remotes package? What we need to do now is we need to look in the log file to be sure. It's a GitHub package, okay. So this is where instead of using use package, we're going to use dev package to tell RM that this is not from CRAN. There we go. Whoops. Get out of there, get out of there. Okay. So, I think that's all I need to do and just try the redeployment again and we'll see what happens. Yes, we want to update it. So it should not need to build all the other packages again, but it's going to build caldav. And then we'll be in good shape after that. I can't remember what function actually used it. Yep, now it's building caldav. This shouldn't be that big, it's just a remote package, so it's gonna... Okay, here we go. This is typically when I have my deployment problems, is when I forget to, in the description file, my goal map, declare that as a dependency. So yes, that is user error that can happen for sure. And I didn't really test it that rigorously before the deployment, so take that for what it's worth. Okay, installing files. Even after using Shiny all these years, it's these kind of things that feel like I take me back in time to when I was first using this thing, and I thought it was all magical hocus pocus. But deployments are always like the ones that give you the most anxiety. It's a good question, Afton. I will look it up right now. This is from the Legend of, it's a remix called Valu's Honor from The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker, a classic song. That's why I love this service, is it does some great modern takes on it. Wind Waker, yeah, fond memories. Okay, we are going to try this again. Toast UI, of course. Okay, well, let's check that out. How did I not declare that? That's a bigger miss on my end. But that's easy enough. Alright, let's just check that description file. I'm very curious now what else I might have missed there. Take a scan. Oh yeah, I'm not even declaring. Oh, I have dplyr, but I don't have tidyr. I definitely use tidyr in there. And we got that in there now. We got per in there. Just to be safe, I better do that FS package as well, because I used that in the pre-work. We got shiny, of course, because Golem took care of that. So I think the one script that I need to look at here is this one. I need to do a quick scan to see. Stringer. Did I declare stringer? No, I didn't. Yeah, that would have been... that stringer. Let's see what else. Read R. Yep, there, declare that. And we got a clock already. Did I do HTTR? I better have done that. Nope. Wow. Yeah. Alright. Got dplyr in there, tidyr in there. Per in there. Did I do Tibble? Nope. Did I do Tibble? I'm sure there's like a helper function somewhere that automatically does this for you if it scans your files. Oh, Twitch R, of course. Silly me. And that's a dev package. From Kyle. And then... we did Cal Dav, that's why I got picky that one time. IDR already. Okay, I think this may be it. Okay, so this deployment may take a little bit longer. We declared a lot more, but better to get that out of the way. Let's see. Yeah, well, what use dev package does, Afton, is in your description file, it puts it in the remote section. So here, my 3 packages that are not on CRAN, CalDAV, ToastUI, and TwitchR, I made sure to use dev package for that, so it put it specifically in remotes to know that those are not coming from CRAN. So yeah, exactly, it does install from GitHub. Let's do this. Oops. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. There we go. Okay, so this might take a bit more time. So let's do, I was feeling like I was going to show you all something, but I don't really know what yet. Oh, maybe what I'll do is we'll do a little housekeeping on the GitHub repo and document all the things I want to work on. So I believe what you would do, Afton, in that case is you'd have to supply in your GitHub PAT somehow to whatever service would be installing it from a enterprise location. Yeah, that works too. I have bundled it up as a tar and put it in there. That works as well. Yeah, Cedar, Prince, if you have something you want to show us, yeah, you can give me a link or where to go. I'll be glad to do it. You'll need to look at error bars there. We are looking, we got another Castlevania remix right now, apparently. No, look at my repo here. While we wait for Cedar Prince, who has us all in suspense now. What cool stuff he has in mind. Uh-oh, you may... oh, I know why. I need to make you a mod. Sorry for that. Should have known that might have happened. Let me see if I can figure that out here. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to add you as a mod real quick. Okay, you are now a mod, Cedar Prince. Apologies for that. Hopefully that fixes things. Thank you. Thank you, Tan. So yeah, Cedar Prince, if you have links you want to share. Now I know the bot was picky. I apologize for that, but now you have mod privileges. You should be good to go. Yes, so you're most welcome. Always great to have friends help me out too. Trust me on that. I've been pretty lucky. I don't get bombarded by a whole lot of bots, but there was one instance I remember Tan had to kick somebody out that was trying to be a little noisy. So always happy to have the help there. Alright, where is my Git repo? I have way too many tabs about this project open. It's crazy. Here we are. This is my issue board. So I'm just start typing stuff then. Oh yeah. Oh, Javis. Yes. Yeah. Let's take a look at this. Let me bring that over here. Yeah. So I caught this presentation at JuliaCon. I think this is the same thing. Cedar Prince. So for those who aren't aware, Javis is an animation layer in Julia, and I am really excited to see where this goes. Let's see. I want to see the draw the Julia logo. Let's see what. Oh, okay. So yeah, this is slick stuff. Wow. Escaping the swirling vortex. Oh, this is just amazing stuff. I'm very excited to see where this goes. Cosmic dancing. Oh, wow. You must have put a lot of hours into this. This is really slick. Oh, okay. Let me go back to the last one there. Oh, it's not opening up for me, but that's okay. But yeah, it's looking. Okay, open image, a new tab. Let's try that. Oh yeah, that is really cool. That's just amazing. This is all with code. Good stuff, man. I can't wait to see more of that. The art community has been trying to do some animation stuff, but this is top notch over here. All right, I see Win from VS Code that the app has finished pushing. Here we go. We got it. We have ourselves a deployed app, and the URL is right here. Our podcast, shinyapps.io/shinycal. It is here. Yes, it is early days, but I feel an achievement just getting it out the door for a version 0.1 or whatever. And everything seems to be... Whoops. Went too far there. There we go. This is for next week. Remainder of this week. Okay, I feel good. I feel good now. I wasn't sure if I'd get this far tonight, but you all stuck it through with me. I surely appreciate that. So now what we should do is we should update my GitHub repo with the link to it in the description here. I'll copy that from the link here. There we go. We'll clean this up a little bit too. There's my description here. Yeah. Okay. We'll do shiny. Streaming is a topic. Oh, streaming is okay. Cool. Data science, yeah. Let's do that. Okay, we got ourselves a fairly nice, setup here. Okay. Well, you know what? You always say you kind of have to end on a high note. That is definitely a nice high note here. But let's kind of recap what we did here tonight. First, thank you all for helping me through that. I'm definitely still a little foggy up here, so had to dust off a few debugging issues there. But what we did tonight is we simply cleaned up a little bit of the UI stuff. We did a little reactive refactoring. We added our own little input to subset the streamer's display, which again isn't that hard of a thing to do. But I put in a great best practice of updating that input from the client side and not so much from the server side. And after that, we went through some deployment hurdles, but it happens to everybody. And I even make it harder on myself from doing the container setup. So once I got the environment bit set up, I had to correct all that description file misses there, but that's good. It makes you more declarative of what dependencies you're using for your app, because the magical servers that ShinyApps.io use could not tell I was using those packages without a valid description file. So that was all a good learning experience. And now with that out the door, I can actually start sharing this with my friends in data science everywhere and build upon it. And there's also some cool infrastructure stuff that we're going to do with this. So I got ideas for the plumber stuff. I've got ideas for maybe even giving the admin interface as part of the app using another package from Colin called Brochure. We'll see about that. And well, Tan is going to show off. He's made something while I was plowing at that. Let's see what he's done there. There's a link here. Let's take a look. Oh, you're gonna love this, folks. So take a look at this before we sign off here. This is Tan's R for Data Science Slack group help messages per month. Wow. So he's got it covered by book club, chat, help, and others. So you can see book club. You've done a whole lot here. So is this are these the oh, these are, yeah, years and months. Okay, so in 2020 you were very active in July and August. Good grief. You are a machine, buddy. You are just a machine. That's awesome. Oh, I love I don't know how you scrape that data, but that's great stuff. Yeah, much like my streaming life. If not for the pandemic, I'm not sure if I would have even taken this plunge. But yeah, Tan is very generous of his time. And by the way, Tan, I think you know this and others know this, but there is a Discord RD group for our users on Discord. And that might be something you all want to get into if you haven't already. Need to find the link to that. Yeah, let's see. What I can do here is I'm gonna whip out my Discord installation here, and I want to make sure I give you the right name of it. I'm not good at linking Discords, but given how, yeah, it's called DISCORD. Okay, I misspelled it. I know it was announced on Twitter, but anyway, I'm going to put the name in the chat. Oh, you got it, Cedar Prince. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't have it handy, but that is it. It's a great channel. I haven't been as active on it lately, but given all of you here are definitely on Discord, you might want to check that out too, and compliment to the Slack R4DS group as well. So, but anyway, Tan is going back to your plot here. You are very generous of your time, and I hope I can even do 10% of this Sunday. So good stuff, buddy. Good stuff. All right, so I will definitely be entertaining ideas on what to do next in terms of, do y'all just want to keep seeing me improve this? Or maybe we start something new as kind of like a educational thing on here. I'm open to all suggestions for that. So the best way to reach me, you've seen it, scroll through here a few times, get in touch with me on Twitch or on Twitter, and keep tabs for future episodes of the Shiny Dev series. And the Our Weekly Highlights podcast just reached its 1 year anniversary. 1 year, that's amazing. 52, yeah, crazy. Already over 52 episodes. So I guess it's the push to 100 now. And last I checked, we are at 8,006 downloads. We're getting near that 10,000 mark, so definitely spread the word to your friends on social media. That'd be a cool little milestone to hit before the end of the year. Who knows, but you know, always like doing that stuff. So, I do admit, normally I would try to do a raid here, but my energy has gone, so I'm gonna probably get some shut-eye here. But thank you all for joining. You always make it so much fun. I've been looking forward to this all day because for whatever reason, my Wednesdays at the day job are easily the hardest days of my week. There's just so much chaos that happens. Some good chaos, some not so good chaos. And I didn't have time tonight to tell you about the next updates in that Shiny app saga of refactoring that's been going on. You'll hear about that next time. It's a doozy. So, all right, well, let's close up shop here. Again, get in touch if you want to have topics for future episodes and areas you want me to explore. I'm always happy to do it. So take care, stay safe, don't get what I got, and have a great night, everybody. Thanks again. See you next time.